spiritual experiences started for me when I was maybe 5 or 6 years old, and I during night when I was trying to get to sleep, I'd always have my bedroom door open with the light on in the landing because I was a bit scared of the dark anyway. And these pure black figures would walk up and down the hallway and stick their head in my bedroom and just stare at me, even though they had no features. And that absolutely terrified me. And as a child, I couldn't, even during the day, I couldn't go upstairs to the toilet by myself. I couldn't go down the bottom of the garden. Really, really scared me. And it probably took me till I was about 16 years old not to be scared of the dark. Had to really work on that. Before, I guess, the start of my awakening, I was quite, I struggled a bit at school. I was, didn't, I had friends, but at school there was this one bully that wouldn't allow me to have any friends, and this was at the very, like, first school. Um, so I was all by myself. He wouldn't let any of the other children play with me. And then I just got into a little bit of trouble with the teachers, which I didn't think I was justified to get in trouble with. For example, I walked on the tables at lunchtime when they told my mum, and just little things really got to me. So I started from that early age seeing teachers and authority figures as the enemy, and it was the sort of thing where I'd get in trouble, then I would do something to get back at the teachers, which would get me into more trouble, and I was getting to the point where I was nearly expelled until I moved to New Zealand. During that time as well, I was extremely bullied, very bad, and I fell into really, really deep depression where I was self-harming, having suicidal thoughts, and I think the only thing that really stopped me from killing myself was the fact that I just couldn't do that to my family. I know it would absolutely devastate them, and I just kind of felt like, what right do I have to bring that hurt on them? I'd rather deal with the hurt I'm going through to spare them pain. And I guess during that time it started just getting me to think and look at the world, because I had so much time on my hands, and I just noticed how horrible people treat each other, and I wanted to understand why people treated each other that way. And so I just started thinking really deeply about things. Yeah, so I started getting, because of my depression and my anxiety, I really wanted to find a way out of that because, well, it was affecting my relationships as well. My partner, it was really hard for her because I was down all the time, really depressed. And so we signed up for this 8-week mindfulness meditation course. I really struggled with it to start with. I think being harsh on myself and judging myself, and because of my mind chattering away, and I was beating myself up about it, and it was kind of really difficult to push past that part to start enjoying meditating. But I finally pushed past it, and I found for me, we were given loads of different exercises, loads of different ways to meditate, but I didn't get on with any of them. The only way I found for me was just to sit there and focus on my breath. So I started that, and I started just feeling calmer. I was able to deal with things a lot easier. I was able to deal with work a lot easier, and the traffic on the road, and I was just a lot more calm, and my depression and anxiety slowly faded away. I carried on for a couple of months after mindful meditation, and I found I was getting like kind of tingling sensation on my on the top of my head. Sometimes it felt like I was stung by stinging nettles on the top of my head, and I spoke to the meditation lady who was teaching us at the time about it, and she said that's just phenomenon. I can't say that word. It was just an experience you get through meditating, and there's nothing to it, it just happens. But unfortunately I fell out of meditating again, fell out of the practice, which obviously started bringing back the depression and the anxiety, and that was probably about 8 months. So I started meditating again. Into about the third day of meditating, I started bouncing up and down. uncontrollably, and I had no idea what was happening to me. And I didn't really feel scared at that point. I just thought, well, this is odd, what's happening? But it really scared my partner, and she asked me to stop until I found out what was happening. Um, so I looked on the internet and I found about spiritual awakenings and a bit of information about Kundalini, but reading it, some of what I read was quite scary, and I didn't want to read any more about it. I lived close to Glastonbury, which is quite a spiritual place. So I went there and went to different health centres and rung up the Buddhist centre and spoke to lots of people, and no one knew what it was, and people kind of looked at me like I was a bit crazy. So I stopped meditating again. So that's what I did. I started meditating, and again, about 3 days into it, I started bouncing up and down again, a bit more strongly than before, which really scared my partner again. So I stopped and said, okay, I'll find someone that can help before I carry on. So I had a bit of look on the internet and found a meetup group for holistic therapies, and saw the founder of it, Tim. So I messaged him on Facebook, and he messaged me back straight away and accepted my friend request. And turns out that Tim had had a Kundalini awakening as well, and he knows a lot about it. And that was quite amazing, considering that was the first person I had contacted, and that I'd looked everywhere in Glastonbury, which is a really spiritual place, and no one could help me, and just felt like, yeah, this is where I'm supposed to be. So I've met up with Tim, and he's been really helpful. And I mean, my process is still beginning it with Kundalini, but I think it makes me and my partner feel a lot safer, and I know Tim will have a lot to offer as the process continues. So with my Kundalini awakening, I'm currently still experiencing Kriyas, where the energy is trying to uh, infuse in with my body and break through blockages in the chakras, and just open everything up. And it's been quite amazing. As a lot of energy flows through your body, and you do all sorts of different crazy gestures and movements. And I've even found while meditating that I end up singing songs in a language I don't know, and they're just really beautiful songs. And I've also found I've been chanting like Native American almost sounding songs, which are more kind of like grunts, I guess, and that, but and really feel the power behind what's coming out of my mouth. And it's just crazy because I still feel in control of my body, but I'm just letting it go and surrendering, and then these beautiful words are just coming out of my mouth all by themselves, and that's pretty amazing. I've also found I've been doing kind of martial arty sort of moves occasionally, and just a very intense, blissful energy running through my body, where you almost feel like you can't take it. And I guess that will get stronger and be easier to accept into my body as the process goes along. I've also found that through meditating, faces of people in my past have come up, and instantly I knew that I had to forgive them. And that was just a really beautiful experience, just forgiving them and wishing them all the happiness and love in their life, and also wishing on them enlightenment and freedom from their egos. And then I find as well there's a lot of forgiving of myself that I've needed to have to do.